So he's going to be doing the welcome.
Because it's like every button has like 4 different functions. I'm like, what?
Do you connect it to something, or is it?
But it's like really old.
So Mr. A, how's our feed coming through?
Maybe you can start working on our mix.
Is it strong enough people can hear?
I'd almost rather just buy the one that's easier to use. But
You buy one on your phone.
that would not be cleaned up and not like the better one. Even though they would be way easier than trying to use that.
Bro, they probably have like bomb sales because quarantine.
Yeah, there's one website that I've been looking on Streetboard, and I was looking on there for just ideas for doing drum sets, and then they have like tons of electronic stuff.
Stand still. Okay.
Yeah, and I thought about buying like
I don't have a
drum
money.
set at the house. That was my stepdad's student.
Smile.
Good morning to Tulsa Adventist Academy Transformation Week of Prayer. We're so glad that you could join us this morning as we listen to the word being proclaimed. We are grateful that Adventist Fellowship, one of our constituent churches, could team up with us so that we could use their platform to present transformation. To our students who's out there, we ask you to please, during the time of the presentation, if you'd like to text Pastor Nick with any questions, please do so on the number 918-409-0106. 918-409-0106. We thank you that you could join us this morning. Enjoy the celebration.
Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to sing a few songs, and we hope that wherever you are, you will go ahead and join in and sing with us. Our first song this morning is going to be Open the Eyes of My Heart, Lord. And we chose this one because that's what we're asking God to do, is to open the eyes of our hearts so we can see something new and how we ourselves need to change. right, and our next song is one that if you go to TAA with us, you should know by now. It is our theme song for this year. It is Different.
I don't wanna hear anymore. Teach me to listen. And I don't wanna see anymore. Give me a vision that you could move this heart to be set apart. I don't need to recognize the man in the mirror. And I don't wanna trade your breath for something familiar. I can't waste a day. I can't stay the same. I wanna be different. I wanna be changed till all of me is gone, and all that remains is a fire so bright the whole world can see that there's something different. So come and be different in me. And I don't wanna spend my life stuck in a pattern. And I don't wanna change this world but lose what matters. So I'm giving up everything because I wanna be different. I wanna be changed till all of me is gone, and all that remains is a fire so bright the whole world can see that there's something different. So come and be different in me. I know that I am far from perfect, but through you the cross still says I'm worth it. So take this beating in my heart and come and finish what you started. When they see me, let them see you, 'cause I wanna be different. I wanna be changed till all of me is gone, and all that remains is a fire so bright the whole world can see that there's something different. So come and be different. I just wanna be different. So would you be different in me?
All right. Well, I'm so excited about our week of prayer. And each day, we're going to have a special challenge for all of you that are watching. And for our challenges, if you could post it to our Facebook page, or you could text it to your teacher, or, by means, and let us see what you're doing to reach out to others. So our challenge for Monday is called Getting Up, and who can we trust? And hopefully throughout this week, we know that we can trust in the Lord, and that trust will grow stronger. So today's challenge is to call a grandparent or a family member who you don't live with, and just say hello or share some words of encouragement with them. I know that, speaking from a grandma's point of view, when my grandchildren call me from California, it just makes my day. And so, especially during these times when we're not sure when we're going to see each other for a little bit. So that's our challenge for today, is to call a grandparent or another family member and just give them a little ray of sunshine this morning. So have a good day.
Being seen, we're blind, then see. But today I look around I mean, for instance, right now, I'm thirsty. Do you have water for me?
Well,
No. See, you don't have water for me. You're not doing anything.
Hey, hi, Mr. Siri.
Oh, hey, Miss Vicky.
You know what? They are giving away water just right down the
Are
road.
you serious?
I'm serious because of the COVID-19 thing and people hoarding water and everything. So they gave me 2, and I'm really not that thirsty this
Cool.
morning. So here, have some water.
Oh, wow. That is awesome. That is exactly what I needed right there. I am really lucky that they're giving away water right now.
lucky.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really lucky that Miss Vicky saw the free water and got an extra one and gave it to me.
Well, you needed something and then got it. Don't you think that?
Oh, I see what you're talking about. Thank you, Miss Vicky. I appreciate it. I forgot to tell her thank you. That's pretty rude of me. I want you to do something awesome.
Like,
I mean, I think about in the Bible, for instance, you parted the sea for Moses. Moses walked to the sea and boom, parted. I want to see you the next time I'm stuck in traffic. I just hit my steering wheel and then the cars go. That would be awesome.
well, all I have to say is keep your eyes open.
Keep my eyes open. My eyes are open. Oh, excuse me, miss. You dropped your wallet.
Oh, thank you.
No problem. I want to see something awesome. Like, yes, ma'am.
You didn't take anything out of my wallet.
No, you dropped it. I picked it up. I gave it to you. Droppy, picky, givey. No takey.
Well, here's $20 for being honest.
She just gave me $20 for counteracting gravity. This is awesome. Yeah. Now, Jesus, when are you going to do something awesome?
Well, how are you supposed to see me in the big things if you fail to see me in the small stuff?
All right, good morning. That was awesome. Ooh, deep at the same time. Well done, well done. Yeah, Larry, I mean, if you want to get into acting, brother, I mean, man alive, you did a great job. It's pretty cool to be partnering with TAA. Shout out to TAA. Woohoo! Glad that you could be joining us this morning. Hope you're having a really good week of prayer. And this week we've been, I guess the theme is transformation. And that's a fantastic theme, in fact. It's something that we all need to experience. And if you were here on Saturday morning, or if you were watching and tuning in, you would have learned a little bit about transformation. But we all need to be transformed. Do you agree? He's probably saying yes from home. All right, don't forget that number, by the way. I don't remember what the number is, but don't forget that number because I want you guys to be able to interact with me. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions as I share something with you. And as I share, I want your feedback. So if that's okay, that number we gave you is a special number, by the way, because you can remain anonymous, right? Your name won't turn up. We won't know who it is because I want you to be super honest with me this morning. As we talk about trust, I want you guys to be super raw, super honest. I want you to tell me exactly what you think and how you feel. So this number that was given to you at the beginning of this the presentation is vital for that to work. So you can text your answers and your thoughts to that number, and I will see it appear here live as we are sharing. All right, check this out. When it comes to trust, we have a problem. I got to be honest with you. We have a big problem. This country has a problem with trust right now. I think the poll says something like 70% of Americans don't trust the news at the moment. Is that the fact? I mean, you're seeing stuff on the news, on the telly, every single day on social media. CNN, Fox News is telling you exactly what this COVID-19 is all about and the impact it's having on our people, on our health, on our economy. And yet still, 70% of people are saying, I don't believe it. That is crazy. We have a trust issue. Who can we trust? All right, that number is 918-409-0106. You got it? 918-409-0106. Who can we trust? In 2012, is when GPS came out. Do you guys remember 2012, the GPS on your phone when it just came out? It was pretty exciting. Some of you guys weren't born. But in 2012 was an exciting time when GPS could finally come out. And in Australia, where I'm from, we may have received it a little bit later than some y'all, but we did get it eventually. But there was a report back in 2012. Some of the tourists visiting Australia had just started using this incredible, fantastic technology called GPS. And they had it on their phone, and they were just trying to get to a location, and they didn't know Australia very well, so they were trying to get to some location. And the news reports that they drove their vehicle into the ocean. What? I mean, look, I'm not going to judge these two tourists because actually I am going to judge them right now. Like, what were you thinking? I mean, the GPS is telling you straight ahead, then turn left, and you see an ocean. Don't go straight ahead. It's quite obvious, but they did. And in fact, there is a news article, if you want to Google it and look it up, you see this little blue car in the ocean. And when the police officers got them out and said, hey, what were you thinking? You know what they said to him? And they had an accent. I can't remember what their accent was. But they said to the guy, the GPS told us to go straight and then turn left. And they ended up in the ocean. I mean, that's madness. What about us? Don't you have time and the opportunity to think? I mean, do you put all of your trust, complete everything in your what you're, in your mind right now into this technology, when with your eyes you can see clearly that it's an ocean? I don't know what's going on. Trust is a big thing. Our theme verse for this week is Romans 12:2, and it says this. I'm going to remind you because you heard it on Saturday, but I'm going to remind you again. It says, "Don't copy the behavior and customs of this world, but let God, we're coming back to that, transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. Then you will know God's will for you, which is good and pleasing and perfect." So this week, guys, God is inviting you on a journey of transformation. And it will happen and you will experience it, but it needs to start with a let God. You have to let God to help you with this journey. That means you must first trust in God. Can we trust God? Can you and I truly trust God? This is your chance now to text me something. I want to know what makes it difficult for you and me to trust in God today. I want to hear your answer. Just text it to that number, 918-409-0106. What makes it difficult for you and me to trust in God today? I wonder. Let's see if we have some messages coming in. What makes it difficult for you and me to trust in God today? And some of the thoughts are coming to mind right now. You're probably thinking, well, I've seen what's going on in this world, right? As I look here and I look there and I look at COVID and I look at the economy, it comes to trusting in God. What is preventing you from trusting in God today? All right, the messages are coming through now. Here we have someone saying, I don't know his plans for me or what will happen next in my life. Good one. Another one, a different person says, well, we can't see him. Fantastic. Yeah, good points. Why don't we trust God? Do we have any more takers? Here's another one. When we're going through tough times, it can be really difficult to trust in God. That is true. Why is that the case? I can see that there is a desire to trust in God, but when we consider what's happening all around us, we're sort of like, I think it's what everyone is saying here on the messaging, well, how can you? Look what he's up to, or look what he's not doing, and you want me to trust in him? All right, here it is. Check this out. I'm going to tell you something. Here's the truth. Can I be really raw with you this morning? It's going to hurt you a little, but I want to be really honest with you, okay? I'm not going to play with you. I'm not going to give you like a 20-minute understanding of a basic point. I'm just going to make the point right here, right now. I'm seeing some more messages come through. It feels like he let me down in the past. Yeah? Here's another one. Because it's hard to know if what I'm doing is his will or my will. Yeah. Keep bringing them in. Fantastic. All right, are you ready? Check this out, guys. You and I, we don't reject God because of what He is or isn't doing in the world. Listen carefully. That's not the reason why we don't trust Him. We don't trust in God. We reject God because He doesn't give us what we want and when we want it. You know that's true. Just think about it. It's not about what's going on outside of our home. It's not what's going on around us or to the person next door. It's simply about, I am not getting what I want from God at the time when I need it. Yeah, there is a trust issue. There is a trust issue, in fact. And if you know how trust works, it's definitely not like that. Trust isn't, God, give me what I want, and when I want it, therefore I can have trust and faith in you. You know that's not how it works, right? Trusting in someone is when it happens naturally, that regardless of the outcome, regardless of the consequences, you have faith in that person because of three basic principles. And here are the basic principles that we must accept and include, or the elements that we include in when it comes to trusting someone. One is consistency. The person must be able to display some consistency. He must be the same kind of person always. God has always been the same. And as you read through the entire Bible, through the testimonies, by the way, that's all it is. Right? As you look at the Bible, they're just testimonies, beautiful testimonies. As you look at all the testimonies, you have to agree that He has always been the same. He has been loving. He has been kind. He has been long-suffering. He has been patient. What's another element? Well, you have to be able to validate what He says is for real. Okay, I give you that one, and we'll come to that in a second, because I want to speak a little bit about some of the wonderful truths that you and I have. But here's the thing, and here's the thing that matters the most to you and I when it comes to trusting in someone. We have to be able to say, yes, I do. I believe in you. And I'm going to give you that opportunity to impact my life. And regardless of what happens, I'm just going to follow you. That sounds a bit like faith. You can't have God without faith, by the way. So the problem isn't the elements of trust. The problem is me. I'm going to tell you something else, and I'm going to be honest with you this morning. We're being really honest with each other today, by the way. Here's something else. Sin. Selfishness, all right? That's what I call sin, by the way. It's what the Bible calls sin. Sin is fun. Did Pastor Nick just say that? Mum, Dad, did you just hear Pastor Nick say? That's the truth. Parents, let's be honest with our children this morning. Sin is fun. Sin, in fact, selfishness is very, very fun. I mean, I don't know about you, but when we pursue physical pleasure and arrive and achieve that desire, we're having fun. Be honest. When you crave for something that you can't have or what you see around you, that is so much fun because your mind and your heart and your activities and everything you talk about is pursuing that same thing, that very thing that you see that you want. That is so much fun. When you are proud of your achievements, that moment right there is so much fun. When you're proud of your possessions, those moments there are so much fun. Sin and selfishness, I'm going to be real with you, is so much fun. You know, I'm not perfect. I still am not perfect. I'm learning and growing in Christ, and He's doing a good work in my life. But, you know, I had a terrible experience in my late teens and early 20s. I had the experience where I decided to walk away from God and taste selfishness for myself and be part of that selfish world, pursuing a physical pleasure and pursuing pride and loving my achievements and possessions. And I spent a lot of time in that space. And I was having fun. I was having a lot of fun. I mean, I'd go out partying like there was no tomorrow. I'd be partying 3 days a week, and I had a great time. and we messed up and we mucked around and we danced and we laughed and we did all sorts of crazy stuff in and out of the clubs, and we had fun. And then the morning would come and it didn't feel like fun anymore. But that was okay, because a few days later we'd repeat it again and it would be so much fun. And that kind of, I guess the kind of person and character I was becoming sort of represented that lifestyle that I was yearning for and craving for, that gave me that short-term fun. And eventually, I find myself at a principal's office, in fact, of a school. And I wasn't happy with the principal. I was not going to school. I had someone in that school and he told me he wasn't happy with the principal. So, because the kind of lifestyle I was living, the kind of person I was becoming, I decided that I was going to spend some time with this principal to fix things up, because he wasn't making my friend a happy person at his school. So I turned up. This is where I found myself. Guys, this is where I ended up. This kind of behavior and character, this is where it was leading me personally. This is my walk, all right? It led me to this point where I'm at this principal's office to try and sort things out for this friend of mine who wasn't having a good time at his school. And I had one of my boys, you guys use that word here, boys, one of your close friends, just standing outside his office blocking the door so no one would come in. And he had his dark glasses on. He was a big guy and just standing outside the office so no one could come in. And I was inside that principal's office and I gave him a few words. But here's what the principal said about that experience with me. And he reported that all through the church. And he said, look, I've been to Cambodia. He said, I've been to some crazy, dangerous places in my life. I've been to places where, I've seen soldiers walking around with machine guns in front of me. I've experienced some terrible things, but I've never felt so threatened and so scared in my life the day that Nick walked into my office. How is that possible? I grew up in the church. I grew up knowing Jesus. I have good parents who they're not mafia. How is that possible? Sin is fun. That's the truth. Sin is fun. And if you want that short-term pleasure, that instant satisfaction, this is where you'll find it, guys and girls, friends. That's exactly where you'll find it. But short-term fun, short-term pleasure, in fact, leads to destruction. So from there, I would keep getting involved in stupid and dumber things. And eventually, I found myself, wanted to sort a lot of people out and eventually ended up in hospital with a damaged knee because of my stupidity, and had a lot of time to think about what I was doing and where I was going and where I was headed in life. And I had some people praying for me during that time. Sin, selfishness, it can be fun, but it's short-term. It's short-term. God wants you and I to trust Him with our lives today. He wants you and I to trust Him with everything we see, with everything we do today, even if it doesn't feel right, even if it doesn't look right, even if it doesn't mesh well with the rest of the world or the rest of the crew. He wants you and I to trust Him. A famous psychologist, Walter Mischel, he's an Austrian psychologist, a professor, in fact, from Stanford University. He investigated short-term gain versus long-term gain, and this is what he found in his investigation as he looked at this science through children, and then to teens, and then to adults, and this is what he found. People who were able to wait longer for the preferred reward tended to have a better life outcomes. They tended to have better outcomes in their lives in the future. They had better SAT scores, better BMI, better relationships, better everything, in fact. The people who waited for the preferred reward versus those who wanted that satisfaction, that happiness, that joy right then and there. So here it is. Short-term pleasure equals long-term pain. Short-term self-sacrifice equals long-term gain. The question is, can I trust God today on all of his promises, everything that he has said and done? Can I trust his word today? If you look at the Bible itself, just very quickly, hey, we'll just run through this. Look at the Bible itself. God predicted that Babylon, the great city, with walls so thick that you can drive Formula One cars up and down its walls, so thick, God predicted that kingdom, that empire, would be utterly destroyed. And at that time, if you're a Babylonian, you think that were not possible because of your walls and your advancement in technology for the time. It would not be possible with those walls and with the security that you had around the place. And what do you know? Finally, it comes down. The Persians take over Babylon. And the Bible tells us that it would never be restored again. And 2,000 years later, we know that Babylon has not been restored, and some crazy people have tried. And the Bible tells us in Ezekiel 29 that Egypt, a mighty, beautiful Egypt at the time, will become just an ordinary, nothing nation eventually. And if you look at history, it was a mighty, beautiful, powerful, rich nation. But if you look at Egypt today, it's just not what it used to be. In fact, it almost doesn't matter that much. You know, there are at least 300 prophecies in the Bible about Jesus. How many did I say? There are at least 300 that have been predicted accurately. Now, his birth in Bethlehem was predicted in Micah chapter 5, verse 2. The year of his baptism, the year of his death were predicted in Daniel 9. How he would die, the way that he would die, the crucifixion, was predicted in Psalm 22. And there are literally hundreds more prophecies about Jesus that were predicted accurately. And here's the thing, there was a professor named Peter Stoner, and he calculated that the chance of a person fulfilling just 8 of these 300 prophecies in their lifetime would be like 1 in 10 to the power of 17 chances. All right, math students, this is what it's saying. It would be like 1 in 10 quadrillion. 1 in 10, 100 quadrillion, that is, of a chance of fulfilling 8 of those prophecies in a lifetime, in one lifetime. Let me tell you what that's like. It's like the state of Texas. You guys get an idea of how big Texas is. Imagine filling Texas up with gold coins, right? 2 feet deep of gold coins, all of Texas, and then getting one guy, and you blindfold the guy so he cannot see anything, and you tell the one guy who's blindfolded to go into Texas 2 feet deep of dollar coins throughout the entire state and find this one coin that you've marked. That's exactly what it's like. They're the odds that we are working with, that someone should fulfill 8 prophecies in one lifetime, and we have 300 of them fulfilled according to the Bible. Why don't we trust in God? Why don't we trust in God? Some of the books that you're studying at school right now, some of your history, ancient history lessons, do you know there's less proof about some of the stuff that you're reading and learning than what we have already about Jesus Christ? Did you know that? Ask your teachers. It's the truth. You'll find a few manuscripts that can sort of back and support some of the historical evidence that you're reading, but you won't have anywhere as much as Jesus Christ and his existence and that he walked around. I mean, the fact is, atheists believe that Jesus was alive and he existed, and they also believe that he was crucified by some Jews because they didn't like him. Why don't we trust in God? His word is true. Everything that he said has happened. He is who he says he is. Why don't we trust in God? We don't trust in God. We don't trust in God because sin is more fun. We don't trust in God because we would prefer to practice selfishness. We don't trust in God because he doesn't answer us when we want him to, and the way that we want him to. We don't trust in God because we don't want to. I wonder what God thinks of us. And that's how we see him. That's the truth. I wonder what he thinks of us. I wonder what he says about us. You know, these people who don't trust him, who desire selfishness over love, who want to do things their own way and perhaps at some point will decide to come to him. I wonder what he thinks of us. I've got a couple of Bible verses. I'm going to finish off with this. Here in Psalms 139, here's what he says, verse 16 to 18. You saw me before I was born. Every day of my life was recorded in your book. Every moment was laid out before a single day had passed. How precious are your thoughts about me, O God. They cannot be numbered. I can't even count them. They outnumber the grains of sand. And when I wake up, you are still with me. How precious are your thoughts about me, O God. You and I cannot even count them. He says, for I know the thoughts that I think toward you, says the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you a future and a hope. Jeremiah 31:3 says, I have loved you, my people, with an everlasting love, with unfailing love. I have drawn you to myself. Psalm 34:8, taste, experience, trust me and see that I am good. Oh, the joys of those who take refuge in God. The whole time, God is loving you. He's having good thoughts about you. He wants you and is drawing you closer to him. The whole time, though we are sinners, we are being selfish and behaving in some crazy ways and acting like children perhaps because we don't get what we want, where we want, we reject him. The whole time, he still loves us and he wants the best for us, to the point that when he could have simply ignored us, and I told you this on Saturday, when he could have completely ignored us, he sends his son to die for us whilst we're still sinners, whilst we're still behaving selfishly. He dies for us. Now, there is no religion, there is no ideology that can satisfy this big problem that you and I have. You know, Buddhism, Hindu, Islam, they'll all tell you that in order to make right for all your wrong, that you need to do something about it, like karma. I need to balance the good with the bad so that I can be accepted into heaven or Nevada, whatever it is. I need to do something myself in order to appease God, to make peace, to make things right. Christianity, Jesus Christ is the only true God. And by the way, he loves us so much that he says, you don't need to do a thing. Right now in your selfishness. Right now you don't trust me simply because I don't do what you want and when you want it. It's okay right now. I'm going to take all of that pain for you. I'm going to pay the price of your selfishness. I'm going to give you the opportunity to enjoy all of eternity with me, regardless of your selfishness, your pride that you're experiencing today, that you desire today. Why won't we trust him? It's because of me. I don't trust him because I don't want to. I have things that I'm holding on to. So I have a challenge for you this morning, obviously. I was honest with you, right? I told you. And you probably know it already, but sin is fun, but it's short term. What God is asking you to trust him with may seem like a sacrifice in this world right now. True. But there is long-term gain. And in the process, you will find happiness. You will find joy that surpasses all understanding. My question to you this morning is, what decision will you make? Short-term pleasure, long-term pain. Short-term self-sacrifice, long-term gain. Will you trust in God? Love you guys. You want to come back tomorrow? We're going to be talking about relationships. And I want to give you some tips on what a successful relationship looks like. God bless you.
Hey, thank you so much, Pastor Nick. And as he said, we are not finished yet. This is just day 1 of 5. We're going to be here every single weekday. 10 o'clock is start time. So please, I'm asking you to invite a friend that maybe doesn't go to TAA. Invite them to join in and join in with us in this week of prayer. This is not just for us, this is for everybody. And I think these are messages that we need to hear. So I just want to thank Pastor Nick again for being willing to step up and join us here in this week of prayer as we move forward and come together. Let's go ahead and bow our heads for a word of prayer. Dear Jesus, I thank you so much for loving us despite us being selfish. And I just ask that we will accept Pastor Nick's challenge today, that we are willing to set ourselves aside and focus on you. Please go with us as we go through our normal school day now. That's anything but normal. Give us the encouragement and the enthusiasm we need, that we can not only complete our task, but we can do it to the best of our abilities, and we can serve you in it. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.